So my relatives, we're in a situation where their federal contractors are not letting Michael and others go to the doctor because, and I'm showing you them false husbanding us and our children, including Tara Cloud and Kara, her sister, and their children. Okay? And that's what I was showing you about Bridges and Carter Ferguson and the other false federal contract with their Ho-Chunk and Wyandotte and their Professor Herbert Mosier, relatives of the McGraw-Heim Meekums, Lorna Stephenson McGraw Garwood's daughter-in-law, Catherine Ann Heim McGraw in-laws. Right now, they're trying to, instead of Michael going to the doctor, they're engaging in their abuse. We don't know where my veterans benefits are. We're not going to have any food. They used Juanita Perry's stolen PayPal card when they were using Bells and Washingtons and our children in their captive gangs' government crimes to embezzle the money. And so he doesn't have his money either. And that's why I'm saying all this interference. So they know that I have all the evidence of their contracting fraud crime that allows them to be an alternative government and plundering our services and their harm to our children. So they're trying to make it so Michael acts up, and they're also trying to force me to go to the VA triage so they can snatch our stuff, the evidence, and keep their illicit control in alternative government. So I need a favor right now. I need someone to step forward, and at the Harbor Freight, I need you on Midvale Boulevard to buy the Cobra 8-channel 4 HD camera, surveillance camera with an external hard drive and a terabyte of data, and the DVR for $250 for me and for us, who are subjugated and under their fraudulent controls. And that's their violence that you see that they've been visiting on us, and that's our plundering our government and services and funding their alternative one, and per capitating our children as cunt husbands and captive breeding, enslaving, and involving their criminal activity for them and their Chinese mining. That's what it really is, their old goon squad. And that's how I was showing you Darnell, Connery, Amelia Polton ring Garvin walkers, and my family too, that are misusing our family's works, okay, and taking us captive and our children and subjugating to this, okay? So, and that's, I was also showing you Decoras, who murdered Annie Mae Aquash, and their crimes on Perry Robinson and their captive breeding, as well as on Russell Means, Dennis Banks, my husband's uncle, and holding our children and making bigamous, rape, rental marriage children they incested as part of their government contracting too. Their old goon squad in the uranium, as well as being friends of Hillary's. And I showed you Banuelos, Buzz Sherman, Amy, Sean, and Jack Strunk, Phyllis Banuelos, Strunk, Richie Artie, Vicky Wolf Banuelos, and Buzz Sherman that Amy Strunk married. Sherman Parker's are McDougal Law relatives of Hillary Clinton. Okay? And that's with the child trafficking. So we need someone to be patriotic so that we who are captive under them can put out the evidence and get assistance and rescue for us and our children from their dangerous situation in their alternative government. And so I'm going to take you in and I'm going to show you what we need, okay? So this is what we specifically need right here. Okay? They are not my spouse and have no business starving me and things. And I don't have to be triaged, and they don't have the right to withhold my VA care. So this is the system right here. Like that, see? Not ignore this. That's what we need, all right? It's a mobile studio, and I can make our case and then send it to the federal officials. And I also want you to know that Tara Cloud, that was her stuff scattered all over. That she was in the car when they murdered her sister with the police by their Ho-Chunk convicted goon squad, including Decoras, that you saw murdering Perry Robinson and Annie Mae Aquash. And as I was explaining to you about my family, my Menominee South Branch grandmother with the restaurant, Catholic Charities, CAC board, Vista Volunteer Board, and she staked her community her small Willie Street restaurant to put together a community health center and a halfway houses that Elmer and the others rehabbed. I showed you about my Red Lake and Huron grandfather and his service, Thomas King. I showed you our family service too, and I showed you my Aunt Janet's Apache husband, Buddy Lackey, Air Force veteran, Deb, Brenda, and David's father, Dad, and I showed you that my husband's father, Dennis Banks, was White Mountain Apache. And I explained to you about my husband's uncle, Dennis Banks, and that Benora Rita, Little Sam Darnell, Goon Squad relatives was unfaithful, and Catherine Rawson and them are part of that Goon Squad that landed on our families, our Wisconsin Ho-Chunk, after they were shut down for their activities. And so I'm explaining to you that Cody Michael King and Nathaniel Joseph King are mine and my husband's children and not their family. And that they're using our tribal and government family right here and right now and making Enbridge and Hickston Sandfrack and per capita native child peddling with their gang. And I'm explaining to you that I am Dennis Banks' niece-in-law. Those are our family. And I'm also explaining to you about how Anthony Shepers and my Aunt Janet's second husband, Gene Gaylord Thompson, Ho-Chunk Navy veteran, Wilma Tribal Council, CAC, his sister, and Governor Thompson's family, and that they are through the White Horses, who are also relatives of Lone Trees, Greengrass, and Winnesheks, that they are also Russell Means family, and that's why the Meritor infant assaults and child trafficking, including that Nathaniel Joseph King was a victim of. That's them murdering us with the police. That's them abusing federal contracting to make themselves an alternative government and committing crimes in all of our services. And so we need that video set right there, and I have the evidence. And so that we can make our case. And I was explaining to you that Michael Faust and his brother Mark were not related to crooked Judge Faust and his undercover false government racketeering operations on us family. He is Blackfoot non-veteran Maurice Faust's son, and so is Mark, that they murdered, and Jim Green and them stole his guns. Greens, who married into the Decorus. And I showed you Madonna O'Clario Hardy's, and that Madonna was on the board too, Catholic Charities and CIC, and she's the one that came up with Head Start and Energy Services that they were using for their child porn to acquire our children. They're false service-based relationships. And so we need that set there, and Michael needs to be able to get to the doctor, and we don't need an ambulance for your false contractors to steal the evidence. And this female veteran does not need a cunt husband, Arnold Darnell, against my marriage to Daniel Banks. We do not need your criminal perverts caring for our children and collecting money and depriving of our veterans' benefits and things. And your post-military sexual trauma favors either, that I sent your buddy, because I was explaining about Ken, Leon, Aaron, and female Dr. Blacks and their crimes with, including on Kevin Bridges' Cloud Daughters, that this is about, by Andre Bridges and marrying them in their government crack heroin with the McGraw, Stephenson, O'Brien, Keynes, Carter Ferguson crack heroin in-law, DOC, CDA pimping that they had in Fort Gordon, Georgia, and in Georgia with Amani Carter Ferguson and Angela Carter Ferguson McKnight, and Dorothy's children, Tyrone Adair's family, who were also married. Her daughter, Dorothy Carter's daughter, Rosalie Carter McGraughlin, was married to Alan Rick McGraw, and not me.